presentation of Fox Sports.
We are sports. We are Southeast.
The Atlanta Braves are firing on all cylinders right now. Timely hitting up and down the lineup. Solid starting pitching. And a stingy bullpen has all led to a 4-game winning streak and victories in 10 of their last 14 games. Winning is cool. And happy days are here again. It's Game 3, Braves and Brewers baseball from Milwaukee next. We welcome you to beautiful Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Let's cue up the Carly Simon. These are the good old days. The Braves are rolling. They've won 4 straight. They've won 10 of 14 games, and they try to make it 3 in a row over the Brewers tonight here at Miller Park. Hi again, friends. Chip and Joe, welcome back to the ballpark. Braves are winning games just about every way imaginable. But the long history of the Atlanta Braves was based on excellent starting pitching. That's what Brian Snitker's club is providing right now. And a lot of guys weren't on the opening day roster, Joe, but they're pitching great baseball right now.
They're making a huge contribution, primarily because they're getting some runs to work with from the offense, and that allows them to pitch a little deeper, which is making the bullpen more effective. The last 9 starts, 49 innings for the guys, and a 3.49 ERA. They've cut down on their homers. The walks still continue to be a bit of a problem, but when you're only giving up a 2.09 average, they don't seem to matter much anymore. Tonight, the 10th start since Julio Teheran went on the disabled list belongs to Joel De La Cruz. His last 2 starts, he's only given up 1 run in 9 2/3 innings, but he has also walked 7 over that stretch. If he can keep the walks down tonight, he's got a real good chance to win.
Chase Anderson will be his mound opponent for the Milwaukee Brewers. And frankly, Paul, we don't care too much about the Brewers because the story tonight's the Atlanta Braves, not just their starters, but the Braves bullpen, which has been lights out over the last 2 weeks as well.
You're right on, Chip, and I've always said you can be clicking on all cylinders, catching it, hitting it, doing everything right, and if that bullpen is faltering, you're going to have some losses, and that will take the energy right out of you because it's a game that you thought you were going to win. Well, how about that bullpen, the last 56 innings? Wow, 1.60 ERA, and that 0.91 whip is the best in Major League Baseball. Outstanding job, guys. Not just 1 or 2 of them, it's all of them. But hey, how about that closer, Jim Johnson, who told me afterwards, he said, Paul, we're like the offensive line. We're supposed to do good, and they only put the camera on us when we do bad and call out our mistakes. As a former reliever, I agree with that. But hey, Chip and Joe, it's time we start talking about the tackles and pulling guards right now. They're very, very good.
You're speaking right to my heart, Paul. That's what I used to have to play as a pulling guard and a big old tackle. It's the Braves, it's the Brewers. Only one thing better than a 4-game winning streak. That's a 5-game winning streak. We'll see if Freddie Freeman and company can spoil the night for Bernie the Brewer again here at Miller Park in Milwaukee. We'll find out next.
Atlanta Braves baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. Atlanta Braves Baseball is sponsored by your local Ford dealer and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin lakefront. It's Game 3, Braves and Brewers from Miller Park. Roof is open. It's a beautiful night again. Not a cloud in the sky. Temperature 85 degrees. It is a humid evening, and the wind is blowing west-northwest out at 10 miles an hour. We'll see how that affects fly balls here for Chase Anderson, the Milwaukee right-hander who goes to the post for Craig Counsell. He's 6-10 and makes his 22nd start tonight.
28 years old, 6'1", 200 pounds, out of McKinney, Texas, in his second year in the big leagues. His splits this year, very reflective of how he pitches. Lefties, a 186 mark and 6 home runs allowed. He's got an excellent changeup that he throws to them. Right-handers, he's not able to throw that changeup as much, and he gets tattooed pretty well. If the Braves get to him, it'll be in the early innings. That's when he has most of his trouble. His fastball, 89-93.
Milwaukee got him in a deal for Gene Segura back on January 30th of this season. A look at the Atlanta lineup. 2 runs was enough last night. Big hit by Nick Markakis. Matt Kemp had a big hit as well. The key at bat, Freddie Freeman's 8-pitch walk that led to that 2-run inning for Atlanta as they came back to beat Milwaukee for a second straight time. Early offense would be nice for Joel De La Cruz. Let's see if that happens to Chase Anderson, who manicures and autographs the mound and now makes his way to the top of the perch for his first pitch of tonight's game. A pair of former Diamondbacks squaring off with the first matchup of the game. Ender Inciarte leads off. And right there, says Paul Nauert, we're underway. Ender's 19-game hitting streak came to an end last night. He hit .368 in that stretch and is 1 for 8 so far in this series. Pretty good pitch.
He'll throw a lot of cutters to left-handers also off his fastball. That was a cutter that just missed. Breaking pitch is more curveball than slider.
That's pop fly foul and into the lower deck. 1-2 for Braves center fielder Ender Inciarte. the seats. That ricochets off an empty seat, thankfully. And Tyrell Jenkins was shaking his fingers and hit it the other way. 2-2 is slapped down the left field line, and that's going to bounce into the crowd. Good at bat for Inciarte to get things started. There's a couple of happy fans. And now a full count.
That changeup nowhere near a swingable pitch. So kind of a wasted effort there. He's got to get closer to the plate with that changeup to lefties to make it effective.
Swing and a fly ball hit to right. That's going to be playable for Hernan Perez. He's making his second start in the outfield in the series. Good battle by Inciarte. He forced 8 pitches, but he flies out to right. 1 down. Here's Eric Ibar. He continued his hitting streak last night. His stands at 14 games in a row with a hit. He's 20 for 52 in that stretch. Eric's good work is our Zaxby's indescribably good play.
During the 14-game streak, 385 average and an on-base percentage that's outstanding. 421. He's raised his average close to 30 points. Just keep it going.
His longest hitting streak is 17 games. That was in 2014 while with the Angels. Popped up and headed foul left side, and a fan from Rockford, Wisconsin picks up the souvenir. He's even wearing a blue shirt. 2 balls and a strike. If you're sitting on the left side of this ballpark, you've got a great chance to catch a souvenir tonight, don't you?
I think you have a terrific chance.
Man, oh man.
You got to be able to go left or right, though. Use a crossover step in some of those empty sections.
Another deep count. And Ibar shoots another one toward right. 2 outs.
There was a good changeup.
And Freddie Freeman will be the hitter. He bats with 2 out and nobody aboard.
Braves have seen Anderson before, but it was 2 years ago in June of 2014 in Arizona, and he won the game 6-5, and he went 7 innings, struck out 8.
Broken bat, little pop into right. That's going to get down for a hit. Freeman's 3rd hit this year against the Brewers pitching staff. That base hit makes him 3 for 24. And that brings Matt Kemp.
High fastball, maybe tried to throw a cutter in on him, and it didn't get there, but it did break his bat. Second hit of the series for Freddie.
Matt Kemp's hit safely in his last 4 games. He has 6 hits in that stretch. 5 RBIs since putting on a Braves uniform a week ago. And he takes a strike. He has seen Anderson a lot, and he has liked what he has seen. 6 career hits, 2 of them homers. A little late there, though. No balls, 2 strikes.
Anderson's last start came against his old teammates in Arizona and got a no decision, but he pitched well. 6 innings, 2 runs, and both of the runs were solo homers. 2 walks, 5 strikeouts.
And a swing and a miss takes care of Matt Kemp. And the Braves are out of luck in the top of the first. Joel De La Cruz is ready to go. No score in Milwaukee. First inning, time for Joel De La Cruz to pick up a win, don't you think? Braves got a base hit, nothing else in the first. And the big right-hander's ready to go at Miller Park tonight.
He's really made some big strides, hasn't he? A 1.72 ERA over his last 8 games and a 1.64 batting average against him. His 4 keys to pitching success tonight. It seems like he only gives up runs when he gives up. Leadoff walks, cut down on those tonight. He walked 5 in 5 1/3 innings his last time out against St. Louis, and keep it moving. Asked AJ before the game what do you like best about him. He said his ball moves all over the place.
That one to Jonathan Villar moved off the plate. Ball 1 to the Brewers' third baseman, who's batting .302 for the year. Tipped and caught, even count. Villar's move to the third base position hasn't affected him at the plate. He's got a 7-game hitting streak. And he's the cog at the top of the order with 45 steals. Line drive center. Inciarte's got it. Hard hit ball. 1 man down. Brewers are struggling to score runs, not surprisingly, since the trade of Jonathan Lucroy. With the exception of a 15-run outburst Saturday in Arizona, they're averaging less than 3 runs a game. And they've really had to shuffle some things, especially in the middle of their order, where, Joe, they're trying to find a cleanup man. Tonight it's Scooter Gennett again.
Yeah, it was Gennett in the first game. Last night it was Perez. Gennett's back in there again tonight. He's been scuffling. They need somebody, excuse me, to protect Ryan Braun, and nobody has stepped up.
They like the top of their order with their rookie shortstop Orlando Arcia coming up. He's got a 5-game hit streak. This is his 3rd home game. And a bouncing ball towards short. Ibar gloves and flips in time. 2 out.
What's great about Run DLC's movement on his pitches is that it looks like a good pitch to hit, and just the slightest tailing action, running action, sinking action causes it to be hit off the sweet spot or off the end of the bat or not at all.
Well, this is a real test for him. Ryan Braun, who has 3 homers among his 7 hits against the Braves this year. But all the homers have been solos. So you can live with that as he takes a called strike. 19 homers, 57 driven in for the Brewers left fielder. Braun had a 7 RBI game last week. That was that 15-run game that they put up against the Diamondbacks. And he's down to his last strike. One fouled at the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Six homers, 13 RBIs, 21 runs scored for Braun over his last 19 played. And way high, evens it up. Braun's hit a homer in this series. A line drive right off the facade of the second deck above the Braves bullpen the other night. This one hit to the right side into the seats. Uh-oh.
I hope that missed the cotton candy stand.
You have a flavor preference? You like the pink cotton candy or the blue cotton candy?
Yes.
Aha. Perfect. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and a base hit by Braun the other way. So Braun's aboard with 2 outs, and here's Scooter Gennett.
That's why this guy is hitting .323 coming in. He may get behind in the count and decide, you know what, I need to put the ball in play or take it the other way, and he does so with some authority. He's not just up there to hit one over the bullpen.
Scooter Gennett is coming up. 0 for 5 in this series. One ball, no strikes. Long time ago, Joel De La Cruz was originally signed by the Milwaukee organization. That was way back in 2006. Spent 4 years in their minor leagues before the Yankees got him in 2010. And then Joel's professional journey really began. He's ended up with the Braves. He hopes to win his first game tonight.
See some of the frustration of a pitch that moves as much as his does, of trying to find the corner. You want to start it at the middle of the plate so that it moves a little bit, but you're afraid that it won't move.
In the air to center. And Ender's going to catch that. Joel De La Cruz gives up a 2-out hit. Nothing else. And we head to the second.
Up on top of the second, and you know what? Ernie the Brewer sacrificing his body. I wanted to see what that was like to go climb the tower and slide down after the home run. Here you go. Here we go. Lot of trust in plastic and bolts right now. Oh! 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 Oh my God. Very, very thankful to the Brewers organization for the padding that's the end of that slide that I hit pretty hard. And I just want to say, you know, Kelsey Wingert's out there wearing nice dresses and tasting food. I'm putting my body on the line for this game, guys.
Oh, man. Paul, you all right?
I am okay. I am okay. Just a hard scuff mark here. Haven't had one of these since I don't remember the last time I dove into second, but it's been a while, guys. And yeah, a lot of fun. Very high, good experience. I don't know if the, you know, who designed that slide, if they did their math correctly or not, the engineer, but that thing's got some serious lift and pitch, and you go down fast.
Yeah.
Oh, that landing was something to behold.
Turned.
I didn't know that you were related to Buster Posey.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
As Nick Markakis takes a call, third strike. Anderson retires him on 4 pitches. That's how the second begins. And the Brewers right-hander has back-to-back strikeouts tonight. 1 up, 1 down. Here's Adonis Garcia. Last night, as you said, the right-handed hitters didn't have many comfortable at-bats against Willie Peralta, who was throwing 96 to 99 miles an hour. Anderson doesn't throw nearly that hard.
No, he doesn't. 91, 92 maybe. He wants a 4-seamer. He might bump it up a little bit beyond that, but not much. But his changeup is his key pitch, and if he can't throw it to right-handers, then he's limited on out pitches, and that's why he's given up 14 of his 20 home runs to right-handed hitters. 20 of them.
In only 107 innings. And missed. 3 balls and a strike for the Braves third baseman Adonis Garcia. He's having a terrific road trip. Fly ball toward Perez in right. Shy of the track, leaping onto the track. And he makes the play for the second out.
He almost overran that. It was slicing hard back to him. He had to make a last-second move right there to give some ground.
Gordon Beckham's got the start tonight. He's at second base, batting .233. And he jumps on the first pitch and drives another one toward right, carrying out toward that wall. And Perez in the middle of the warning track makes the play. Quick inning for Chase Anderson. Chris Carter will go to work for the Brewers. No score, Braves and Milwaukee, as we play game 3 of this series. Our MVP, Paul Byrd, hanging tough. Tori Kelly will be at Turner Field Saturday, August 20th for a free post-game concert, all part of the Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines Summer Concert Series. Field passes are on sale for just $20 each. Go to Braves.com/Tori Kelly today. Not sure if it's made of green cheese or not. As Chris Carter goes to work and bounces the first one toward third, Adonis Garcia's got it. And he got the big man by a quarter step. Carter's retired. One out here in the second.
I was talking to Eddie Perez before the ball game quite a bit about Venezuelan baseball and his success managing the Maracay team last year. And he was talking about Hernan Perez that was on his team, and he said it was his MVP.
Really?
He said he played that well.
Well, here he is. A couple of RBIs this year against Atlanta. 8 homers, 36 knocked in. He can play second. He can play right. And he took a letter-high fastball for ball 2.
Eddie's not sure if he's going to go back to manage a full season this winter, but he said he probably will, but he hadn't made that final decision yet. But he is going to be part of the Venezuelan national team in the World Baseball Classic.
Oh, great.
Omar Vizquel is going to manage that team, and they asked Eddie if he would be the bench coach and help Omar, and he said he'd be happy to.
A 4-pitch walk puts Perez at first base with 1 out.
And he can run.
With 20 steals, he'll stand at first, and Kirk Nieuwenhuis will be the batter. Braves have held him down. 1 for 16 is Nieuwenhuis at the plate against the Braves this year. 5 straight have missed. Neuenhuis ahead, ball 1.
You weren't with us last night. This guy is hitting 300 at home. Less than 200 on the road.
He was supposed to be the next big thing with the Mets.
Correct.
He and Matt Den Decker together were supposed to be a big part of the Mets' future.
Juan Lagares came along and erased any thoughts of Neuenhuis being the guy, especially in center field.
Well, there's another guy that's out there that perhaps the Brewers or the Mets might take a look at here in August. Carlos Gomez, designated for assignment by Houston today.
No kidding.
Ball 2. Three defenders on the right side for the Braves. And that would split the plate. 2-1. Runner goes, swing and a miss. AJ's throw is going to be in time. What a play by Ibar to snatch that ball on the third side of the bag and then sweep the tag across in time to get Perez for the second out.
It's pretty good hands, wouldn't you say? The only chance he had was to backhand the short hop and get it over there in time. The 4th time Perez has been caught. Terrific play.
And now a 2-2 count. Neuenhuis, a third rounder by the Mets in 2008. The Mets traded him to the Angels in 2015 in a cash deal, and the Brewers got him off waivers right before Christmas. Went to Azusa Pacific University. And a mounting ball foul at first.
Let me ask you a question, Coach Carey.
Yes, sir.
If you're hitting 208 and teams are shifting on you like this, wouldn't that tell you something about maybe some adjustments you need to make to probably up your average a little bit?
They're going to pitch me inside hoping I pull the ball, right?
They're playing me to pull because that's all I'm doing is trying to pull the ball.
So he drops the bat and takes a walk, second walk of the inning. Well, that's something we talk about all the time, and it's something baseball purists get frustrated by, is all the shifting that's taken place in baseball and how beneficial it's been for defenses and helping keep scoring down. And you said it the other night, you're right. If the hitters don't adjust, that's on them. I mean, he's got the whole left side of the infield. He can run. Why not lay down a bunt and get him out of the shift?
I know I was talking to someone here the other day about that Robin Yount was in town, Hall of Famer, and that was one of his huge frustrations, is that players continue to let teams shift on them because they keep hitting into the shift. They don't even try to go the other way.
And you said it perfectly well. They're telling you what they want to do to you. Maldonado hit a 2-run homer here in this series, his 5th of the season. And he shoots one toward left. It'll get down in front of Kemp. So the stolen base play looking bigger and bigger. Maldonado, the 8th place hitter, has the second Brewers safety of the night. And they'll clear their pitcher, Chase Anderson.
That's where all these walks really begin to add up on De La Cruz as the game goes on. Runs his pitch count up, and especially when he got the reprieve on the caught stealing, to then go ahead and walk Nieuwenhuis. Now all of a sudden it's first and second, where he could have been at the bottom of the order with perhaps the pitcher leading off or batting second next inning.
Last start, a pitcher hurt him at the plate, didn't he?
He did.
It's Jaime Garcia, who knocked in the only run of the game. Anderson's 4 for 32 at the plate with 16 strikeouts.
Bases empty, runners on. A good job with runners in scoring position, and very good with 2 outs. And with the pitcher up there, he needs to get out of this inning.
One and two. Far enough. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And that'll take care of Milwaukee. 2 walks, a single, but nothing else. De La Cruz bats second for the Braves, who come up scoreless in the 3rd. Fans, here's to 20 years presented by Synovus, the bank of here. All year long we celebrate 20 years of Turner Field. Let's look back August 9, 1999, when Andruw Jones made his famous Spider-Man catch. Squares puts it to center. Andruw turns tail, still going at the wall, up the wall. He made the catch. What a play! Something else.
Yeah, the great instinct he had, the timing he had, knowing where the wall was. He had taken that one last quick look, but knew exactly where he was when he jumped.
You're an outfielder. You played center field. Can you describe how difficult that play truly was and how effortless he made it look?
Well, most guys would just have run, you know, a face plant into the padding. He had to wherewithal to jump for the ball up near the top of the fence and still catch it and come off throwing. Very difficult.
That guy doing the play-by-play was pretty good.
Yeah, he wasn't bad.
As A.J. Pierzynski leads off for the Braves here in the third. Pierzynski, De La Cruz, and Inciarte are coming up. Chase Anderson, the Brewers pitcher, has allowed one hit. That was to Freddie Freeman. A.J. corks one down the right field line. Will it stay up? It will not. It's off the fence. A.J. on his way to second. Perez's throw is close, but late. A.J. Pierzynski with a lead-off double.
Boy, he ambushed this pitch. Target in the middle of the plate. Change up. Nailed it. Just didn't get it high enough.
De La Cruz will try to help himself with a bunt. That's the other part of all the shifting that takes place. The bunt is perfect. A.J. to third, one out.
Worked out pretty well.
So much of the success of a shift is based upon a pitcher hitting his spot. In the case of A.J. Pierzynski with his stance, is he not telling the pitcher what he wants to do?
Sure.
Wide open stance, he wants to pull the ball.
We talk about that all the time. Guys standing off the plate, they're inviting you to pitch him away.
So Anderson drops a pitch right over the inner half where a left-hand hitter can just drop the barrel on it. And now he's in trouble.
A.J. outguessed him there.
So let's see if the Braves can cash in some ABC baseball here in the third inning. A.J. at third, one out for Inciarte, who flied out his first time. Didn't mean to even count.
The infield alignment is a little different here. They're halfway in, except for Garcia, who is back a little bit at shortstop. VR's even with the bag at third, but not all the way in, not all the way back.
Little pop into shallow center is going to get down. And the throw is going to come to the plate by Nieuwenhuis. Late start for A.J. The throw to second is going to be in time to get Inciarte. Ender with an RBI single. He's thrown out trying to move up on the throw to the plate. Pierzynski scores. It's 1-0.
In on his hands, but he fought it off enough to get it deep enough to get A.J. home, who had to go back and tag up. Nobody there really to cut it off. Carter wasn't there. Neither was VR. But Ender's decision to go to second base was a little late. It's all right. Good hustle. Tried. Got the run in.
His 16th RBI. And now Eric Ivar, the batter. Line to short. Arcia's there, and that retires the side. A.J. Pierzynski led off with a double. De La Cruz sacrificed him to second, and Inciarte brought him home. It's 1-0. The Brewers is at 1:30 Eastern right here on Fox Sports Southeast. If you can't catch it on TV, no problem. You can stream Braves games on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go, a free app available through your app store. Just download, log in, and watch the Braves wherever you go. Presented by Circle K, home of the world-famous Polar Pop Cup. Top of the order for the Brewers, who trail 1-0.
I have to go by Circle K and get one of those Pop Cups.
Say that again.
Polar Pop Cups.
Two balls, no strikes.
All right, get the leadoff guy.
Yep.
No walks, no leadoff walks. This guy's having a really good year. He's hitting over 300. He wants to swing the bat. He strikes out a lot. Not big on walking.
He punts a beauty toward third, and nothing Adonis can do about that. So Villar, who's in a neck-and-neck race with Billy Hamilton for the stolen base supremacy in the National League, bunts to start the third.
That was a beauty. Didn't leave too soon. Tried to place it perfectly, and he did.
Villar has 45 swipes. Hamilton has 48.
Boy, Billy must have had a good night last night.
Yeah, he's been running wild for the Reds. And a bouncing ball through the right side, a base hit. Milwaukee's got him at first and third with nobody out. So Arcia has his first hit of the game, and the Brewers are in business with Ryan Braun coming up.
I don't know if Freddie Freeman could have gotten to this ball or not, but it's like he didn't see it off the bat. It was too far wide of him. Good hit and run play.
Billy Hamilton for the Reds, 9 steals in the last 3 games.
Good grief.
So here's Braun. He singled to right his first time up. 4 hits, 2 walks allowed by De La Cruz so far. He leads by a run. That's in jeopardy here in the third.
Like a good pitch. Didn't get the high strike call from Paul Mauer at that time.
Got that one, though. Villar with a bunt single. Arcia with a base hit to right. First and third, nobody out.
Braves would take a ground ball here for a chance at a double play and concede a run. Although Ibar is playing well off the bag toward the hole for Braun.
Base hit to right ties the game. Braun's 2 for 2. 3 straight Milwaukee hits here in the bottom of the 3rd.
Another good piece of hitting by Braun. Fastball up. Look at that huge hole. There's a professional hitter seeing what the infield was giving him, and pretty obvious that he was just going to go that way. Got a perfect pitch to do it on. His 58th RBI.
Hard to believe Ryan Braun's in his 10th season in a Brewer uniform already. He's hit 274 home runs in a Brewer uniform. So we're tied again, 1 apiece. Scooter Gennett, who flied out to center, is the Brewers batter, again batting cleanup. Jonathan Lucroy is a Ranger. Need someone to protect Braun. Let's see what Scooter does. Roller right side. Can the Braves get 2 out of this? There's 1. And that's all they'll get. 1st and 3rd, 1 away. So now you're a strikeout away from getting the 2nd out. Chris Carter can do that. He also hit the ball on the ground to 3rd his first time. He's a big man, doesn't run well. Strikeout or a double play ball would be just fine. Keep an eye on Arcia. He's scampering down the 3rd base line every time De La Cruz makes that throw to 1st. Foul away.
Good pitch in on him. Martin Prado with the most double plays hit into in the National League. That's surprising. But another guy who's in the top 10 in hitting in the National League has also hit into a ton of them, and that's DJ LeMahieu.
Means they're putting the ball in play a lot.
Yes, it does. Giants beat Miami today 1-0.
No balls hit a strike for Chris Carter. Swing and a miss. Brandon Crawford hit a homer after a 7-for-8 game the other day.
What a night.
And that was a big game for the Giants, who entered play tied with the Dodgers in the National League West. The Giants have lost a 6.5 game lead. The Phillies helped them out, beat LA, so the Giants head home a game up again out west. Didn't fish. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Swing and a drive. Deep center field. How high? How far? Off the scoreboard.
Man, oh man, this one went a long way, folks. Pretty easy swing. He thought he had a homer here Monday night. That one hit, I don't know if it hit the Miller sign or hit the bobblehead announcement above it.
I think it went higher. Can't wait to see the tail of the tape on this one as Perez pops one left side. Ibar calls off Adonis and makes the play for the second out. Well, Carter was denied in the ninth inning. In game one, he was not going to be denied here. His 19th homer at home. Listen.
Like it hit right in between that beer sign and the council bobble. Right in that trim, that framework, that metal part. Ooh, doggies, that's a long way.
And the Brewers have a big inning. They've scored 4 in the third, lead 4-1 now. As Kirk Nieuwenhuis is the batter. Again, Atlanta shifts. Nieuwenhuis with a walk back in the second. "26 home runs for Chris Carter, 64 driven in." And that one stroked into center. Ender will cut it off. And Nieuwenhuis has his first hit. Tough sledding for De La Cruz so far tonight. 4 runs, 7 hits. Here's Maldonado, the Milwaukee catcher. Haven't been plagued of late by the big inning. Tonight,
No.
that's not the case.
Long way to go. Hold them right there. Offense has been good. We get to Chase Anderson. One measuring service, Chip is saying 442 feet on the home run. I think that's short.
Braun's homer was 422 feet. They're saying that shot by Carter was only 20 feet longer than Ryan Braun's.
That's what they said.
Come on.
If that scoreboard hadn't been there, it would have been over our cameras out there in center field. Well beyond them.
I don't know the answer, so I'll ask rhetorically. Has anybody hit one out of the ballpark through the panels? They're open in right. They're open in left. The panels kind of bunched together right behind the scoreboard. Has anybody hit one over the bleachers, past the concourse, and physically out of the ballpark? He could. And nearly knocked down the scoreboard with a mammoth 3-run homer. 2 balls and a strike. Maldonado, 8th man to hit in the inning. Brewers have 4 runs on 5 hits. Popped up. Beckham drifts out, backpedals. Markakis calls him off and puts the squeeze on that. Big home run from the biggest man on the diamond, Chris Carter, with a mammoth shot to straightaway center. His 3-run blast breaks a 1-1 tie and puts the Brewers in front as we head to the 4th. A lot of time to come back with 6 innings left here in Milwaukee as we check out our Academy Sports and Outdoors. Here's why Braves fans should be optimistic tonight.
Yeah, earlier in the year, this would have been the ball game. 3-run deficit, didn't matter how early it was. Not lately, not since the All-Star break when the Braves are second only to the Dodgers in batting average at 271, and that's in both leagues. So the way they've been putting runs on the board, the way they've been putting innings together, this game is far from over.
And the right guys at the right time are coming up to try to chip away against Chase Anderson. Freeman, Kemp, and Markakis are due here in the 4th inning. Braves have a run on 3 hits. Freeman got the first base hit, a broken bat single in the opening inning. And taken low, ball 1. Fly ball left center field and deep. That one's going to go. And that one hits the scoreboard. Freddie Freeman hits the lower left corner of the big jumbo scoreboard at Miller Park. A solo shot, and the Braves answer with a run themselves. It's now 4-2.
And again, don't you love watching Freddie hit the ball that way? Shows you what kind of power he's got the other way. Something sinking and down and trying to run it down and away, but it went right down into the middle of the plate. Freddie knew it. Right up there by the 4.
Maybe it was a 4-iron. I don't know. Perfect.
Yeah.
It's in a great spot. So Freeman's got 20 homers, and it's now a 4-2 game for Matt Kemp. And he scorches one into the shift. And Arcia will check the webbing. Kemp lines out, 1 away.
Same measuring service at Freddie's was 436.
Freddie Freeman back in the 20 home run club for the first time since 2013. Nick Markakis is rolling 2. He's our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot.
5 homers and 18 RBIs in those 28 games. He only had 2 prior to this good run he's been on the last month.
I know I'm guilty of it. I'm sure fans are too. 18-19 months ago, he was coming out of surgery. He is locked in. And he shoots one into center. Markakis has a hit. So that's 5 games in a row for Nick. He's 9 for 19.
That was a case of not hitting his spot, and Maldonado's going to have a talk with him. Look how far outside he jumped to get him to try to serve it out there, and instead it's let her high down the middle. Talk about missing. I'm telling you, this game is not over.
So 3 hits already as Anderson begins his second trip through the Braves lineup. Adonis Garcia lined out to right. Popped up. Braun in left is underneath. He is there, and 2 are down. .23 homers is Freddie Freeman's career high, by the way, in 2012 and 2013. Arcia at short, flips to second in time, and that retires the side. Freddie Freeman plays Pepper with the Miller Park scoreboard. Down and away, he hit it a long way. It's 4-2. '20th, the Braves will take on the Nationals. This special ticket package includes an Auburn-themed Braves hat, access to a pregame networking event, and a donation. Visit Braves.com/Auburn for more details. And you know who's going to be fired up about that is Jim Lovell.
You know it.
Braves athletic trainer, huge Auburn fan, and a huge Freddie Freeman fan too. Freddie hit his 20th homer to cut the lead to 4-2. De La Cruz could use an easy frame. He's got the pitcher to start things off, Anderson, then VR and Arcia. There's a good start. Pitcher strikes out. And that's number 2 for De La Cruz. VR with a bunt single and a run scored is coming up. Joel De La Cruz, one of 14 different pitchers to start for the Braves this year, tying Atlanta with Cincinnati for the most starters used. 14 different starters is the most since 1975, when that year's edition of the Braves used 15 different men in a starting role.
75.
To second. Beckham's got it, and VR's an easy out, 2 away.
Good to have a quick inning if he can get one more guy and get his offense back up there after Freddie got some of the momentum back with that home run.
That's upstairs. Some of the pitchers on that 1975 Braves roster. Well, you know about Phil Niekro, of course. Blue Moon Odom, Ron Reed, Ray Sadecki, Elias Sosa, Tom House, Preston Hanna, Adrian Devine. Adrian Devine was at Alumni Weekend.
Yes, he was.
Saw Adrian. Bruce Dal Canton, Buzz Capra. One ball, one strike. That year's club won 67, lost 94. And to tell you how the game has changed, you know what Braves attendance was in 1975? 534,000.
Not much.
The 3-1 is rocketed off De La Cruz's foot. Freeman's going to apply the tag in time, and Joel is limping toward the Braves dugout. That caught him flush. Foot, calf, knee. We'll have to take another look as a comebacker takes a bite out of Joel De La Cruz. Arcia's retired. Brewers go out 1-2-3. Oh, right off the kneecap. We'll check that out when we come back for the fifth. Four in Milwaukee with Joe Simpson, Paul Bird, and our great Fox Sports crew, Chip Carey, with you. Chase Anderson has the lead. He'll start this fifth inning with A.J. Pierzynski. Joel De La Cruz is scheduled to hit, but Chase d'Arnaud has grabbed a bat and stands in the on-deck circle.
Joel was getting some treatment in the dugout and looked to be in a lot of pain. Comebacker appeared to hit him right in the knee.
AJ fires one toward Braun in left. One out. Here's a look at the comebacker from Arcia.
Right knee. Just couldn't get the glove over there in time. And he was in some agony over there.
So Chaz Rowe begins to loosen up as d'Arnaud will pinch hit. De La Cruz, 4 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and a home run. d'Arnaud's done a nice job in a pinch. He's 6 for 15 and batting .256 for the year.
Just when you were talking about all the starting pitchers the Braves have used, another one gets dinged.
Well, there might be some help coming for Atlanta on the next homestand. Dave O'Brien in the AJC reported that Braves could be getting Julio Teheran, Tyler Flowers, and Arodys Vizcaino back, perhaps all three of those by the end of the next homestand. Plan for Julio is to throw a side session and make one rehabilitation start and then join the Braves when we are back home. Won't be a long stay at home for Atlanta. 2 with the Twins, 4 with the Nationals starting Tuesday night. Then we go west for Arizona and the Giants.
Rare curveball from Anderson there. Chase has had a hard time getting some consistent at bats lately. What with the good play of Chase Peterson and his good offense. Gordon Beckham getting a little more starting time, and Ibar red hot. So no real opportunities for d'Arnaud to play short.
This ball's poked to the right side. Nice play at second, and the throw to first is late. Infield hit for Chase d'Arnaud. Scooter Gennett did all he could, but d'Arnaud outran the baseball, and he's aboard with 1 out.
Was he fast going down the line? He could see the chances for that. Look how he was digging down the line, and then tomahawked, clotheslined by Carter as he's reaching for the ball. Carter made sure he was okay.
Chris must not like our Atlanta middle infielders. He almost
swallowed
Eric Ibar last night.
Is that the word you're looking for?
Well, that's one of them. Man, oh man, just flat out tackled him in the middle of a rundown last night. Both he and Eric laughed about that. So Inciarte's the Braves hitter. He started another streak, perhaps an RBI hit back in the 3rd. And Ender takes outside. Ball 1. Count even now. Nationals won today. They beat Cleveland 7-4. That's who the Braves will face next. Don't want to miss the matchup on Friday night. Mike Foltynewicz and Steven Strasburg. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Folty's in that nice run of drawing all the aces, isn't he?
Yeah.
But he outpitched Wainwright a couple of days ago. Gave the Braves that series win.
I know you're not a Twitter fan or a Twitter user, but speaking of Adam Wainwright, he did something really classy for Tyrell Jenkins the other day. There's the 2-1 pitch, which is in at the knees. Tyrell, former Cardinal, had such great admiration and still does for Adam Wainwright. Adam Wainwright signed and personalized a jersey to Tyrell Jenkins saying, "Good luck, congratulations, keep working hard, your friend Adam Wainwright," and gave that to Tyrell when we were in St. Louis. And young right-hander who won last night was really excited about that and appreciative. And what Tyrell said was, "I watched everything you did and followed your every example as a member of the Cardinals," and what a tender and touching moment for 2 former teammates.
Especially for a young pitcher.
Big hole right side. If Ender can fill it, d'Arnaud has the lead at first. A 4-2 game.
Little emergency, excuse me, right there. Get that pitch off of me. Might have been a cutter. Look what happened while you were gone.
Right off our microphone at the edge of the screen. Runner goes, swing and a pop up into center. Nieuwenhuis is underneath, and he'll make the catch. Back to first is d'Arnaud. 2 are out. Eric Ibar has fly to right and lined to short. Runner goes, pitch low. Maldonado's throw is also low, and it ends up in center field. But no chance for d'Arnaud to advance. He steals a base. Now a hit could make it a 1-run game.
Good jump, and then a horrible pitch for Maldonado to try to throw him out on down and in. You see the result of the play. Throw was short. Garcia did a smart thing of keeping his glove on d'Arnaud to make it seem like he had caught the ball, so he didn't try to advance.
That's popped foul left side.
Inciarte represented the 3rd time through the order. Second time is usually where Chase Anderson has his problems, and then he settles in, does a nice job. So we'll see if the Braves can improve on that number and make it a little higher.
A bunt try and foul.
Normally that would be a scratch your head. What is he thinking here? Drive in the run, especially when you've been swinging the bat so well. You got a 14-game hitting streak. But when you got Freddie hitting behind you and you get on base representing the tying run, that's not such a bad idea. Won 4 straight. Their season high is 6, correct?
I'll check. I think you're right. It was early in the year.
included a sweep of the Mets.
Just missed. Braves had a 4-gamer April 15th through the 19th. Those were the first 4 wins of the year.
Cutter went in just a little off the plate.
And you're correct. It was June 15th through June 21st. 2 against the Reds, 3 in New York, and the first game down in Miami. Terrific battle here by Ibar.
Just a changeup, I believe. Barely able to reach it. Sweet.
Pitches piling up for Anderson here in the Braves 5th. A 1-out infield hit by d'Arnaud and a stolen base. He's at second with 2 outs. And a bouncer over third, foul. Anderson has a couple of strikeouts, but I don't remember that many swings and misses. He's forcing the Braves to put the ball in play. A lot of flyouts to right.
Eric just 3 for 26 on the year with 2 out runners in scoring position. That was another reason perhaps for the bunt attempt.
Anderson's gotten 8 outs in the air. That's a dangerous way to pitch in this place.
Well, 20 home runs.
Yep.
He's given up 20, 14 to right-handed hitters. He almost made a mistake there on a breaking ball. Everything had been running away from Eric. He hit foul balls off the end of the bat repeatedly, and then he got a curveball that he could pull, and for Anderson, a break that he pulled it foul.
Fly ball center. Nieuwenhuis is going to have room, and that takes care of the Braves in the 5th inning. No runs, a hit, a man left. Chaz Rowe will come on to pitch with Braves down 2.
Two Brewers, bottom of the 5th. We've talked about the Braves clicking on all cylinders, from pitching to bullpen to hitting to better base running. Something we don't talk about enough is the defense, specifically the left side of that infield. Ibar, Garcia doing the job, and you can see Garcia really good defense, less errors. Ibar hitting the ball, Garcia hitting the ball. So I went to third base coach Terry Pendleton, former Gold Glover, 3-time Gold Glover and NL MVP, and he said these guys are really working hard early before games really specifically working on that footwork, and that's where he believes it starts. And I got a question for Joe Simpson. I want to know, when you start playing better defense, does that help you at the plate? You start feeling good? Does it to relax you, or are they independent from each other?
Oh, no, I think they go hand in hand, Paul. That's a good question. You make a good play in the field, next time up at the plate, you feel like $1 million, like you've done something to help your team, and you're fired up to add on and do some more.
Second game for Chaz Rowe in a Braves uniform. He's got Ryan Braun greeting him here in the home fifth. Braun's 2 for 2 with an RBI tonight.
You hear that adage sometimes about guys who are struggling and in a slump. Don't take that slump with you to the field. It's hard to do sometimes, to separate.
Bouncing ball into the shift. Back up. Long throw, and he gets Ryan Braun.
It's an old shortstop. He knows how to make that throw going away from the bag.
So Braun, who's hit the ball to the right side twice, pulled this one, and Beckham got his man. 1 out. If you haven't been with us, Chaz Rowe joined the club Monday. Braves claimed him on outright waivers from the Orioles on August the 7th. Pitched in 9 games out of the pen for the Orioles, gave up 4 earned runs in 9 2/3 innings. Chaz is no kid. He's 29, 6'5", 190 pounds. And a shot toward the gap in right center field is going to roll for a while. Scooter Gennett will have an extra base hit. His first hit of the night, and he's in scoring position for Chris Carter, who dented the scoreboard his last time up.
First hit of the series for Gennett is an extra base hit. He is now 1 for 8.
Strike. Well, Carter's homer was really a rare feat in this regard. A hit for him with runners in scoring position. You mentioned last night, we talked about all the strikeouts this man puts together and all the home runs he hits. But think how many more RBIs and how much more damage he could do if he could make consistent contact. Nobody's complaining about contact tonight.
No.
A big home run to break a 1-1 tie.
Swings like that are why they try to look past all the strikeouts.
Rowe got him though on 3 pitches.
3 breaking balls.
So 1 on, 2 outs. Hernan Perez, the batter. He's walked and popped out. 3 strikeouts for the Brewers bats tonight, and for them that's exceedingly good work. This is a team that averages almost 10 strikeouts a game. They've struck out 1,066 times, and this their 112th game. Keep throwing it till they can hit it. So far, Carter and Perez have missed 4 in a row.
all sliders to this point.
That one missed outside. 3 balls and a strike. To third. Adonis got the hop, snow cone action, and then threw low to first, and Freddie Freeman dug it out. Great play at first by Freddie Freeman to save an error. Perez is out, so's Milwaukee, and we're off to inning number 6. Very much. Boy, we know the dangers, Joe, of nacho cheese dip. It can cause a lot of problems if you're not careful.
That we do. Jalapenos, sour cream. We wear it all the time.
So not a whole lot of fundito for that fan as gets some new gear. As Freddie Freeman leads off for Atlanta. He's 2 for 2 tonight. A long homer back in the 4th inning, his 20th of the year. Braves are still in this game, just got to string together a few hits. And Anderson missed low, ball 3. Four straight, tying run coming up.
Nice. Way to start the inning.
And things happen when you walk the leadoff man. Let's see if that's the case with Matt Kemp coming up. Matt has struck out and lined out.
First walk for Anderson. A little respect for Freddie after the long homer. The Brewers bullpen gets busy.
That's headed foul right side. Strike one to Matt.
Lane Boyer.
front and foul left side.
That would have been a thing of beauty.
Maldonado held it there, didn't get the call.
That was close. What a front door cutter. I remember Matt Kemp hurting the Braves a lot when he was with the Dodgers, hitting the ball to right center. He was younger there then, a little lighter. Injuries hadn't taken quite as much of a toll on him, but he could wear out that right center field gap.
Well, he's got the whole right side of the infield if he can punch one through that way. With Carter holding the runner at first. Scooter Gennett is standing on top of the second base bag. Now you see stands on the third base side. Oh, and 2 to a full count.
Great patience by Kemp. Laid off a pitch inside, laid off a pitch borderline outside, and now should get a decent pitch to hit.
Down the left field line and again foul. Nice catch.
Kemp has seen just about every pitch he has in his arsenal. That was a 3-2 off speed pitch. Again, had him out front.
Struck him out. 93. Matt wants to know if it was a strike. I think the answer was yes. And he's the first out.
That was one of his best fastballs of the night. 93 down and away. Too close to take. And yeah, he got a nod yes from Paul Nauert.
So that's the third strikeout for Chase Anderson. It might also be the last pitch he throws in the game. Craig Counsell's on his way out, and that is the case. Milwaukee's bullpen has been busy all inning long. And with Nick Markakis coming up, Craig Counsell will go get his starter. He leaves with a 4-2 lead.
Braves baseball is sponsored by your local Toyota dealers, Let's Go Places, the Georgia Lottery, and Zaxby's Indescribably Good.
One of the many great sights here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin is the Harley-Davidson Museum. If you are a motorcycle fan or an Americana fan, you don't want to miss this. Among the exhibits, serial number 1, the oldest known Harley-Davidson motorcycle in existence. They have Elvis Presley's 1956 motorcycle. They even have a tsunami motorcycle that washed ashore in Canada after the earthquakes that racked and rocked Japan back in 2011.
Is that right? Blaine Boyer on. Did an amazing job, bases loaded, nobody out here in the 12-inning game the other night. Came in, got a 3-2-3 double play, and then a pop-up to first. He inherited bases loaded, nobody out, did not allow a run to score.
First man he'll face is Nick Markakis. Nick is 1 for 2. Boyer missed outside. 2 balls, no strikes. This figures to be a 1-inning performance for Boyer. The pitcher's spot is due third when the Brewers come up. Anthony's a strike. No update yet on Joel De La Cruz, who gave up 4 runs in his 4 innings. Was knocked out of the game literally by an Orlando Arcia ground ball off his right knee. Chaz Rowe worked the 5th inning in scoreless fashion. Now the Braves trying to come back. Freeman at first with a walk. 1 out. And a shot toward Braun in left. Ryan to his right. And 2 are out. Boyer retires his first. And here's Adonis Garcia.
Blaine Boyer's pitched up and down and all around, starting his career with the Braves out of Walton High School in Marietta, Georgia. But through all of his efforts to get back to the big leagues and pitch at this level, he's accumulated over 6 years in the major leagues. This would be his 7th. That's a nice mark to show his perseverance.
Strike 1 for Adonis. He's flying to right and left. He is 0 for 2, 4 for 21 on the trip.
Throws a lot of sliders. Be nice if Adonis could jump on one.
That's into the seats. No balls, 2 strikes. Paul Byrd sat down with Blaine Boyer during this series. In fact, you'll hear from Blaine tomorrow during our Braves Live pregame programming. Blaine's not just a terrific husband and father and family man and major league relief pitcher, he's also a great humanitarian, and you'll want to hear his story tomorrow. Bouncing ball up the middle. Arcia gloves, 360 spin, but not in time. What range by the Brewers shortstop to nearly take away a hit from Adonis Garcia.
He must have sensed that he would not have a play at second. Going this far for the ball, you figure your only play is at second. He twirled and fired a very accurate throw to try and get Garcia. Nice play. Showing off a few things that he can do.
So again, the Braves are knocking at the door. They had a runner at second in the 5th inning with 1 out. Now they've got 2 on with 2 outs, down 2 runs, and Gordon Beckham the batter. Fly ball left on the first pitch, and Braun is there, and that retires the side. No runs, 1 hit. 2 more Braves runners are left. Brewers maintain their 2-run lead. For the 6th inning, it's time for tonight's Chevy game summary. Joe?
I think the one thing that stands out there, aside from Freddie's big night, is that Joel De La Cruz had to leave the game after getting hit with a comebacker. Hit him in the knee. Left after 4 innings of play. Big damage he gave up was a big 3-run homer to Chris Carter off the center field scoreboard. Chase Anderson has departed, but he's the pitcher of record and stands to get the win if they hang on to the lead.
Jonathan Kerber from the Braves media relations staff just came into the booth and told us that it is a right knee contusion for De La Cruz. X-rays were negative day to day.
That's good.
So in the Milwaukee 6th, the 7, 8, and 9 hitters, Neuenhuis, Maldonado, and then Blaine Boyer's spot. Neuenhuis has a walk and a single. I think I figured out why we're having trouble scoring runs tonight. We haven't had our bratwurst.
I'm going to pass tonight.
Are you? Good pitch. That takes care of Neuenhuis. Rowe's been impressive. He set down the last 3. That's 2 strikeouts for him.
Went upstairs too.
Maldonado is 1 for 2. Another bunt. Adonis Airmails that. It ricochets down the right field line. Freeman gets in the way of Maldonado. It won't matter. He'll be at second base with one out.
It looked like Adonis is going to have plenty of time to throw out Maldonado because Martin couldn't get out of the way of this pitch right there. He's kind of backpedaling almost to get out of the way, put it down in fair territory, and Adonis would have nailed him with a throw somewhere in the vicinity of the 414 area code. Freddie bailed him out last inning on a throw that was in the dirt.
So Andy Wilkins will come on and pinch hit. Nice job by Blaine Boyer. 2/3 of an inning of one-hit relief. It'll be a single and a throwing error for Garcia. Adonis' 16th error of the year. And Brian Snitker is on his way out to the mound. Looks like he wants to talk strategy with Chaz Rowe here. Allmauer makes his way to the slope of the mound. And Brian bought some time, and that'll be all for Chaz Rowe. He goes an inning and a third, 2 hits, no runs so far with a couple of strikeouts. 4-2 Milwaukee. The Brewers threaten here in the 6th. Braves pitcher, let's tell you about our T-Mobile greater coverage of baseball. The Braves aren't the only hot team in the National League or the majors for that matter.
Yeah, the Cubs are doing what they've been doing for most of the year. Best record since the All-Star break in baseball at 17-6. The Reds have gotten hot, second best in the National League. And look at the Twins. The Braves did a number on the Twins in Minnesota. They'll see the Twins in Atlanta when they go home. But the Twinkies have been playing good baseball.
They'll be without Byron Buxton. They sent him out after he was hitting under 200. Max Kepler had 4 homers in a 2-day stretch. And as you saw, Dozier's been swinging a hot bat, so we'll see Minnesota in just a few days.
That's too bad for the Buxton family. You know, the Twins don't come to Atlanta very often, and I know they were all looking forward to him playing at Turner Field.
So Wilkins versus O'Flaherty here. And a strike from Eric. Another shift for Atlanta. 3 defenders on the right side for the left-hand hitting Andy Wilkins.
One of the things for Eric lately has been trying to get the ball down. He's had a little difficulty leaving pitches up in the zone. The first pitch was a called strike that was up.
He should be well rested. Eric last pitched on August 7th, and that was 1/3 of an inning. He also issued a walk. It's just a guess, but I'm surmising the Braves will try to stay away from Mauricio Cabrera tonight. He's pitched 5 times in the last week. Jim Johnson's gone out there 4 times in 7 days. Ian Kroll 3 of the last 4 days.
He's had a pretty good rip at that.
Shouldn't he be wearing number 21?
Yes.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Fly ball right center. And Ender is going to catch that. No advance by Maldonado. Eric gets his first man aside, and now VR is coming up. He's singled and scored in 3 trips. VR is a switch hitter, better average from the right side at 333, 40 hits and 120 at bats. Even count.
See Eric kind of pointing at himself on that pitch. Might have tried to throw that sinker a little too hard and spiked it, and that was what was happening in St. Louis.
Adonis at third made a nice play and a perfect throw that time to take care of Jonathan VR. Eric O'Flaherty, a nice job. Got his first 2 men aside. We head to the 7th.
Baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
That is a hat.
Think she got it at the fair?
Pretty good chance. Get some good ones at the fair.
Maybe it's her birthday.
Might be.
It's a good birthday hat. I like his hat too.
Either would look good on you, partner, as we head to the 7th. And Carlos Torres is on to pitch.
He's done a really good job for them. A lot of long relief assignments.
He was the tough luck loser on Monday. 2 innings, 1 hit, 1 run, 2 walks. Then ended a string of 7 straight scoreless outings. He's got a sub-1 ERA over his last 18.
Good idea by AJ. Just try to push that bunt over there somewhere, keep it fair, but he fouled it off. Yeah, the Braves got to Torres in his 3rd inning, remember? He had pitched 2 real good innings and then walked the leadoff man in the 12th.
Oh, 0-2 for AJ. He takes high. Torres had 2 career saves entering the season. He has 2 this year. They both came against the Braves. May 25th and May 26th. Easy play retires Pierzynski. AJ's the first out. And Jeff Francoeur grabs a bat. He'll pinch hit for Eric O'Flaherty. Roberto Hernandez and Matt Garza hook up in Game 4 here tomorrow afternoon. 2:10 first pitch time, East Coast time. Braves live at 1:30. Then we'll head to Washington for a weekend showdown with the Nationals.
Kind of a reverse of Hunter Cervinka, a right-handed Cervinka. Cutters and curveballs. Low 90s on the cutter.
At bats have been tough to come by for Jeff of late, with the addition of Matt Kemp. This is only Jeff's 6th at bat on the road trip. Lost that bat, fouled it away, and to count 1-2. Jeff did that once in this series, and that ended up in the stands.
Right. He got a good pitch to hit too. He missed it. Cut.
Still 1-2. Hanging tough.
He's pretty much saying to Torres, you're not going to get me on that outside corner with the cutter or the breaking ball. You might jam me, you might bust me inside and get me, but I'm not going to give up the outer half. Good swing. Tried to quick pitch him, didn't work.
Jeff has 2 hits against the Brewers this year. They're both doubles. And he's worked it full.
And I think it's primarily because he's looking middle away to not give up that outside part of the plate in an effort to try to pull something. He's seeing that pitch real well and laying off.
Did he go? He did not. Jeff Francoeur coaxes a pinch hit walk. And that will bring the tying run to the plate. Ender Inciarte is coming up.
Jeff's 15th walk of the year.
He had 13 last season with the Phillies. Nine walks in 2013. Line drive base hit Inciarte to left. The Braves are in business. 2 on, 1 out. A 2-hit game for Ender.
After getting shut out last night and having his hitting streak snap, he got a breaking ball that was not where it was supposed to be, and he made Torres pay. Good speed on the bases. See if Ibar can find a gap somewhere. Hit one down the line.
Well, the 7th inning was the big inning for the Braves last night. They scored twice to take a 2-1 lead. Maybe a couple are in the offing here tonight. Down 4-2. Ibar, the second place hitter. Freddie Freeman waiting on deck. He's reached 3 times. But it's quickly 0-2.
Different for a left-handed hitter in this regard, that everything from Torres to a left-hander is coming to you. You might try to backdoor that cutter. Got to be aware of that.
Bouncing ball towards second. Flip to Arcia, who glides and fires to first. And a double play takes Atlanta out of the 7th inning. Carlos Torres continues his good work out of the Milwaukee bullpen. That play sends us to the 7th inning stretch, where the Brewers maintain their 4-2 lead.
Chevrolet, Georgia Power, and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
With Boss Hog, Paul Bird, Joe Simpson, Chip Carey with you. Another look inside the beautiful Harley-Davidson Museum. If you're a motorcycle fan or just like mobile art, that is a must-see.
Beautiful.
So the home crowd just was entertained by the beer barrel polka. They've rolled out the barrel. And now Atlanta rolls out Jose Ramirez, who's in his 10th game in relief.
And 7 straight scoreless outings for him. His last outing a couple of days ago, Chip 2 innings, struck out 3.
This was one of our talking points at the start of the broadcast. The Braves bullpen this month has been outstanding. And Adonis will be charged to throw out Arcia. He does just that. Coming into play tonight, the Braves bullpen in August, 2 wins, no losses, 4 for 4 in saves, a 153 earned run average. Tonight they don't have a lead to protect. They've got to hold down the Brewers and hope the middle of the order can do something starting in the 8th. Ryan Braun's got another 2-hit night. 9 for 20 against the Braves with 8 RBIs this year. And a strike. Big game in Seattle tonight. Mariners 1, Detroit 0. Cleveland already lost. The Tigers are only 3.5 games behind the Indians for the AL Central League, and the Mariners are charging up in the wild card race. So keep an eye on Seattle in the final 2 months.
All those big front runners at the All-Star break have faded, except for the Cubs.
That's on a play foul. Something along the lines, if I remember correctly, the 35 division leaders that had a 5-game or better lead at the All-Star game, 31 of them went on to win their division. That might be in jeopardy this year. By a percentage. As Braun went fishing, didn't get it. A 96-mile-an-hour fastball erases him, and that's the second out.
When you go up there out of the zone, this is not a strike. Up and in, running in on the guy, tailing in on him. It wasn't where AJ wanted it, but boy, was that effective when he's behind in the count and you got a hack at it.
Physics guys have said it's physically impossible for a fastball to rise in the strike zone. That pitch sure looked like it had some hop and jumped above the bat of Braun.
Yeah. There's some pitchers that those physics guys need to grab a bat and box with.
So 2 up, 2 down. Scooter Gennett back in the cleanup spot tonight. Picked up his first hit, but was stranded in the 5th inning. Each team has left 6 on base. Can't say enough about the job these guys have done in relief. Mauricio Cabrera has been brilliant. Brandon Caniff has pitched scoreless baseball since coming back. Jim Johnson getting everybody out in safe situations. Ian Kroll has a scoreless string going back to July 27th. Eric O'Flaherty's given up a run in 1 of his last 7 games. Ramirez with a 2-out walk. He's got a scoreless string going back to, he hasn't given up a run.
He's given up a walk in 4 straight outings.
Right.
Counting that one. if there's a blemish on the good work by all these young pitchers, it's bases on balls.
And you'd much prefer to face this man with nobody aboard. Atlanta faced him in the third, and Carter hit a 3-run homer off Joel De La Cruz. And that got Paul Noward on a ricochet. Let's see if he's all right. Ugh.
AJ gives him a little time to clear his head. He's got a little Richard Gere look working, doesn't he?
Runner goes, swing and a miss. AJ's throw is not in time. Jeanette scooters into second with his 8th steal, just ahead of AJ's throw. And the count 0-2 to the Brewers' first baseman.
I don't know that they had him, even if Gordon hangs on to the throw here. No, they did not. But 0-2 to Carter. Rowe got him with 3 straight breaking balls in the 5th.
Down the right field line and into the seats. Tape measure homer for Carter in the 3rd. Broke a 1-1 tie.
Not a big swing. Just a big man. Got it out front. Hit it off the Pierce sign.
Toyota key play as he digs in with a 2-strike count. Another pop-up headed for the seats. A walk and a steal for Scooter Gennett with 2 outs. And Carter pops this one up. It'll stay in play. Right side, Freddie Freeman says he's got it. And he does. Freeman will lead off the Atlanta 8th. It's late in Milwaukee. The Braves need 2 to tie. The right guys at the right time for Atlanta, especially because Freddie Freeman has our State Farm instant replay honors.
He got something down and out over the plate, and He too hit one off the scoreboard in center field. His 20th homer of the year. Gives him 47 RBIs. He'll face a new pitcher. Corey Knebel will come on, who pitched here a couple of nights ago in the 12-inning game and faced Freddie Freeman, got him to hit into a double play.
He was called up from AAA on July 15th. He's given up 1 run in 8 games, so he's been Abel Knebel.
Yeah.
For Milwaukee's relief corps.
Throws hard, 94-97 with a curveball.
First pitch swing, fly ball down the left field line. Braun gives chase in the corner. That ball is gone. First pitch homer down the left field line by Freddie Freeman. A 2-homer night, and the Braves are down 1.
Home run to deep left center. Home run down the left field line. Hello, Freddie Freeman. Fastball. Not even sure that was a strike, and he crushed it the other way. Just snuck over. That's a Jimmy Jack.
Yes, it was.
Paul Bird would love that. That was a Jimmy John Jack.
So a 2-homer game for Freeman, 21. Of the Braves first baseman, and we got a ball game now. 4-3. Kept Chase run up and out of the zone. It's 0-2. Kemp fought that off, stays alive at 95 miles an hour. Braves have now hit 8 homers on this road trip. Freeman with 2 tonight. It's Freddie's second 2-homer game of the year.
Not a bad curveball there that got spoiled. See, it was down and out of the zone.
Terrific at bat.
Matt struck out his last time up, you might remember, against Chase Anderson after putting up a big fight, fouling off a bunch of pitches and getting to a 3-2 count before Anderson made a great pitch with a 93 fastball away. Trying to get on any way he can.
That'll see a 9th pitch. Hit high in the air to right. Perez on the track now has to come charging in. Nearly misjudged that, but he recovers for the first out.
I didn't think he was hit that well, and the way he was playing it, I thought, oh my gosh, that might go near the wall. I had it right the first time. He didn't.
And he's so mad he just kicked his bubble gum away. But there's the first out. Here's Markakis. Nick's 1 for 3. He'll take a 5-game hit streak into action tomorrow afternoon. Has 31 hits since the All-Star break. Around 350 in that stretch. An excellent eye as he watched a 96-mile-an-hour pitch miss low.
This guy's got a good arm. Need a base runner.
Some time did Knebel with a left oblique problem. Seeing that pop up more and more. Greinke had one. Vizcaino had one. Gant had one, just to name a few guys off the top of my head. 2-1 pitch.
It's like Maldonado got a little frustrated with his pitcher there. He gave him a sign, and he'd shaken off 3 or 4 signs before. It was like Maldonado threw his hand there like, this is all you got. What are you making up here?
Here comes the number 1, 2-2. Strike 3, late call. That one was low, and Markakis wonders how that could be called a strike.
It was low. Fastball, but it was low.
Oh boy.
Nick got rung up on a called third strike earlier in the game. Didn't say a word. He knew it. Headed to the dugout. He had a reason to complain there.
So that hurts. 2 outs. Adonis Garcia, the batter, reached on an infield hit. A little late.
Cut it loose.
Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts. The one to Markakis disputed. But Freddie Freeman on the first pitch of the 8th inning hits a homer down the left field line. A 2-homer night. Freddie's been on base 4 times. The Braves are down a run. Home 8th coming up.
It is 4-3 Brewers, bottom of the 8th. Let's talk about that bullpen. We talked about late inning losses zapping the strength and energy of a team. Over the past 56 innings, that bullpen the best in baseball. The .91 whip, and tonight with 4 scoreless innings, they've run the scoreless inning streak to 14. And no, I'm not worried about jinxing them because I'm not superstitious. Back to you guys.
Hey, Paul, did you see where Freddie's home run went?
I did.
I mean, was that a Jimmy John Jack?
That's a Jimmy John Jack. You were on top of it. Can't get anything past you, Joe.
I know you were fired up about it, though.
I was giving a few fist pumps down here in the well.
Okay.
So 3 straight scoreless innings by the Braves bullpen. Perez, Nieuwenhuis, and Maldonado. The 6, 7, and 8 hitters up against Ramirez, who was impressive. Perez 0 for 2 with a walk. Atlanta will have the bottom of the order coming up in the 9th. 1-run game, 4-3. Adonis third, tricky hop, backhanded play, and a throw to first dug out by Freeman.
He's been busy tonight. Freddie's bailed him out a couple of times. His throwing not as accurate as it has been this evening, and one throwing error included. That was a tough play. In between hop, good hands.
5th assist for Garcia tonight. And here's Nieuwenhuis, who's walked, singled, and struck out. Fly ball center, pretty well hit. Ender is back, and he is there. 2 outs. Braves Live, presented by Xfinity, follows us from Miller Park tonight. Entertaining game started by Joel De La Cruz and Chase Anderson. De La Cruz gave up 4 runs in 4 innings before leaving with a batted ball off the right knee. Anderson went 5 1/3, allowing 2 earned runs. Two hits for the Brewers catcher, including a bunt. Right center field, and that's trouble. Markakis diving try, knocked it down. Throw coming into second, and it's going to be in time. What a great play by Nick Markakis.
Great play, great recovery, and excellent throw. Nick kept it from getting to the wall, sprang up, made a good throw.
So that sends us to the ninth. The Braves are down a run. Kelly will be at Turner Field Saturday, August 20th for a free post-game concert, part of the Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines Summer Concert Series. Field passes are also on sale for only $20. Go to Braves.com/Torrey Kelly today. So here we head to the fateful ninth. How about a comeback? How about a ninth inning rally for Atlanta? Jeffress is now a Texas Ranger. Tyler Thornburg is now the Brewers closer. This is his 48th game of the year.
How about those batting averages against him? Lefty's hitting 121 against him. Big arm, 92 to 95 with a curveball, an occasional change.
He's allowed only one earned run in his last 16 1/3 worth of work. And the Braves ninth will start with Gordon Beckham, then A.J. Pierzynski, and then we'll see. Braves have already used Chase Darno and Jeff Francoeur in a pinch. One to tie, two to take the lead as we see Beckham take a called strike. A swing and a miss, a ball in the dirt. Beckham's retired on 3 pitches, 1 out.
Strikeout was on the curve. Pretty much like a downer. It was. Nice stop by Maldonado. He wanted it in the dirt.
Tyler went to Charleston Southern University. Lives in Charlotte in the offseason. And a foul ball off AJ's bat. Braves catcher's got a double and a run scored. A career .350 hitter at Miller Park.
And they're not going to let AJ just bunt freely. They had VR in there on the edge of the grass at third base. The impression he's giving Craig counsel is that he's trying to hit the ball to the left side where he's got more room. So they've moved Arcia now over on the third base side a second. Now he's saying no. Go back the other way.
That's part of the challenge of playing a rookie shortstop. He doesn't know these hitters,
right,
much less his own pitchers, so he needs some help from his bench. Taken low, even count. Inside out swing and into the camera well.
He was trying. It was almost like he was running and moving out of the box as he was swinging at that one. Took that right out of the catcher's glove.
Saved another pitch.
He's got both the guys on the left side of the infield moving on the pitch. They see the location of the pitch. They see the angle of his bat, and they're already moving to their right. I think that spot right where the umpire is, Ripperger, that's the spot that AJ can take advantage of here and hit it right up the middle.
Right to the shortstop, who played it to the side. Ole and out.
Look what I found.
He knows he got away with one. AJ hit it on the button, but he's retired, and Jace Peterson, the final hope to keep the game alive.
Wow, is that a big break? Getting out of the way and just letting his hands do the work, and the ball found his glove.
Jace has a 1-for-12 road trip working. A great time for him to break out. Swing and a drive center field. Nieuwenhuis retreats. Still going. Got there on the track. And the Brewers beat the Braves in Game 3. Their first victory in the series. 4-3 the final score. Chris Carter's 3-run homer. 1 run better than Freddie Freeman's 2 solo shots for the Braves. Game 4 comes your way tomorrow afternoon. We'll recap the Brewers' 1-run win when we come back to Miller Park right after this.